I happen to be an accountant, not an engineer, thank God. And but what today I'm going to try to share some ideas with you and leave a few menu cards. Would be something not about finance, but something about, and those of you as students, some of you I also understand as head of departments, could even think of taking me out. Do it, but please do it after the events. Before I start sharing with you something about youth in India, I'd like to tell you something about our own country. 3 years ago we came back, we were living in Turkey, and what fascinated me most in the last 3 years was a trip that we took to Tamil Nadu on a temple trip, and just to find out how old we were and our heritage. And the fascinating part of our country is the seamlessness of its diversity. And this is something which gets translated also in youth in India. The other day we saw a program on classical dance, and when I went to see the rehearsal, there were youth like you. Jeans, t-shirts, iPads, and the same boys and girls did a classical program. So our country is something we forget sometimes, age-old, ancient, dominated by various civilizations, but yet a seamless flow, and this we can see even in the youth, and all of you sitting here. The interesting thing perhaps that we don't look at is from where we come, the backgrounds, our socio-economic status, our belief systems, our castes, our religions, our upbringing, what our parents told us, what society tells us, and it's extremely diverse, from rural to semi-rural to urban, and within urbanization also. So going back to our roots of who we see and what we see, the diversity from the Western mind, and I would say sometimes even from the Indian mind, is mind-boggling. Especially as we grow up, and it is during those childhood periods, there are instances of minor events which last us a lifetime, of what we saw in school, with our parents, with our friends. And within this diversity comes this unique culture and fusion of different religions, of different castes. But I always say when I go to Europe or anywhere else and meet with students, and especially in the Western world where 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, and India 2 plus 2 is sometimes 2, 1, 3, 5, sometimes also 4. That in this diversity that we have, we still have a certain seamlessness of what is called Indian. A Christian wedding in India is conducted in the Indian way. A Muslim wedding in India is conducted in the Indian Muslim way, and a Hindu marriage is conducted in the Indian way. And at the same time, differences. And what's most interesting is you have many boys and girls going to all parts of the world, but when they get married or when they have a social function, they do it the Indian way. Many of them dying and wanting to even come back home to do it the Indian way. And along with this, the upbringing, what comes here is within this upbringing a set of aspirations, of learning, of wanting to do well, of while getting educated, of saying who am I, what is my background, what are my belief systems and commitment systems. But yet in India, this very important thing which is there, parents' biggest gift to Indians and to their children are education. Be it in education in a rural school, be it in education in a private school, but the biggest, I think there's no other country in the world which spends as much money in terms of disproportionate amount of the income on education. And with our upbringings and diverse upbringings, diverse beliefs, with that comes also the concept of education. But something more on education. What does our education teach us? Does our education, I call it the freedom to fly? Are we allowed to be getting the freedom to fly? How many of us here have read Jonathan Livingston Seagull? It's a fantastic book. Very few of you have read it. I know it's many years ago, but do try and read it. It gives you the freedom to fly. And in this freedom to fly, what I've tried to show here is one, a finger which is held and by the child, and the other by the parent. Many of us have gone through the experience, especially in India, of having protected lives. The protection hasn't come out of wanting us not to have the freedom, but it's more an Indian culture that we are in some form and manner protected and not allowed experiential learning. Now, I don't say everything in the West is good. There are many things about us which are far better than the West, and today the West is looking at this, and especially to India and its diversity. But one thing that we can look at in the Western culture is from the childhood, whether it's be it education, whether be it's parental upbringing, is the ability and the intention and the want for the child to have experiential learning. And this is something that we have to ask ourselves very much. And not to throw away our roots, but to ask, who are we? What have we gone through? And what do we want to go through today? Do we want to be held? Or do we want to hold? And as and when we want to do it. Societal pressures in India. Parental pressure. I'm a great fan of Three Idiots. How many of us have seen Three Idiots? Wow, that's impressive. Because as much as the number of engineers here. The first thing that you hear is Mera Beta Engineer Bane. Thank God he didn't say Mera Beta Chartered Accountant Bane. But, you know, the societal pressures that we face in India, parental pressure, because we have to score at the top to be able to get through that class, to be able to get through that college, and then to be able to fight the race of life. And the interesting part is, in spite of societal pressure, in spite of parental pressure, many of the youth in India are today breaking free. Many Indians who have not had the opportunity of having had the ability and the environment to be allowed to fly free are even flying free. So on one hand, we have societal pressures. Mera beta engineer banega. On one hand, we have a situation called parental pressure. And parental pressure in India is understandable. Many of our parents want the children to be what they have not been. Many of them want to live their dreams through the children. But along with that, also India is changing in some form manner, mixed bag. Not so much in rural, not so much in semi-rural, but in the urban area, where boys and girls are also wanting in between to break free. And there you see many engineers coming out and finally going into art, or going into vacation training, or going into things that he wanted to do or she wanted to do. So that's the interesting part. The best part about youth in India, and that's you, is your hunger. When you go to Europe, and I've been doing that for the last 25 years, when you go to the West, and US for many years was the destination of India, no longer I would say, in the years to come, the aspiration in terms of butterflies in the stomach, the hunger and the passion, that's lacking. Today, in so-called what Europeans or what the Western world calls us as emerging countries, I don't consider ourselves to be emerging countries, the concept of hunger, passion, commitment, butterflies in the stomach, and wanting to do well, this hunger is lacking. And our country, blessed with a demographic average age of 27 years, this is something which is amazing. And all with a smile on the face. Western world just cannot understand that how can people have smile on the face where it is not correlated to materialistic demands, needs, and well-being through cash flows. This is something difficult to understand. A child in the road who she or he who goes to school is still smiling. Children who pass out from classes or from colleges are smiling. And this is irrespective of strata of society. But as we still have the smile on our face, we also bring about with ourselves certain burdens, which I would like to share and ask you at the end of the day whether this is meaningful and in reality. Working in corporate organizations for the last 27 years, both nationals and multinationals, there's one thing I've noticed. Many young boys and girls come with tremendous aspirations, but also shackle themselves. I was talking to some of you today, and most of the colleagues were calling me sir, perhaps because of a grey head. And the one thing that I asked was, why are you calling sir? They said, no, we've learned to respect. And the request that I made is, You don't know me, so you can't respect me. And free yourself from the shackles of sir, because that's what the British left us with. And talk with eye contact and share your views with the confidence that you need to have and that you have. The fear, and Swami Vivekananda, and I'm personally a great fan of Swami Vivekananda, what he told us, on many occasions in India, we still have the fear of hierarchy. So respect is something that in India we have, and this is something perhaps very important for us to retain. But the fear of keeping certain items in the cupboard and not opening them, the fear of the boss where we agree to disagree but we don't state it, the fear of not confronting the brutal facts, the fear of not sharing your opinions and views. And this is what I call the system of obligation. For centuries we have something of a system of obligation, and this is good. The system of obligation brings a culture of bringing loyalty to the person, to the organization, to the environment around us. But along with the system of obligation, if this brings the fear of not being able to confront, the fear of not being able to tell your nearest and dearest one what you believe, or where you agree to disagree, and what I see at least in organizations, the fear of talented youth not speaking their mind. And what I say is, where the train comes into your station and you don't get onto the train, and the train goes by, you don't have the chance again. That perhaps is a question that you would like to ask. Many of us in India come very near the goal. What we need to do perhaps more is to score the goal, to hit the last winning run, to run that last mile. And for this, there is a very important point. To get that last mile is unglamorous hard work. It is also a matter where we have to commit ourselves to going through pain to get the glory at the end. And this is something that I see in most organizations, not just youth, but many of our middle management, senior management. Many of us are not willing to go through the pain to be able to get the joy. And many of us are having the worry of not getting the glamour and the glory. But the last mile is not about glory. That's where the biggest pain is. You're running a 10-kilometer, and I've done once or twice only 10. It's tough. The last kilometer looks like it's 10 kilometers. But that is something that perhaps, again, we need to look at. I'm personally a great fan of the Bhagavad Gita. I think it's the best management book ever written 5,000 years ago. It's something that on many occasions we lose sight of, the concept of mentoring. And mentoring would mean also talking about not only the good things, but also the tough things. A mentor-mentee relationship is something in India on many occasions is lacking. What I mean is, parental counseling on many occasions is lacking. Counseling by elders is on many occasions lacking. And as students grow up, there are, in most occasions, I find, a lack of systemic mentoring about, I'm not talking here about education. I'm not talking of studying and mugging up. I'm talking about mentoring in life. I'm talking about issues where you get to learn, which are not written in the books, where you get to emulate, where you talk to people, you study them carefully, and you ask, what is lacking in me and what do I want to do and what do I want to change? But for that, the first point is, I need to know where I am, I need to know who I am, and I call it the stage outside the stage of nirvana. Nirvana is when we don't even know that we don't know. And the next stage is to say, I start unpeeling my onion, and I know that I don't. One of the points which on many occasions I notice is we do not focus enough on our strengths. And if you just look at our strengths, just go into a pharmaceutical shop. The guy there has the ability to do multitasking. He's flexible. You want one protein, he gives you. Try doing that in a place like Germany. If you ask for one, you get 10, because that's what the number of proteins are there on a strip. So India's strengths are, and the youth, I think, has this, our ability to multitask, our flexibility, our creativity. We are great firefighters. There's a hunger, we are eager to learn and unlearn, and we want to grow. But along with that, I've always seen the one part which is not coming out here clearly is Perhaps where we lack is our processes and systems. So before I end, I'd just like to leave a small menu card to you. This is not something that I know at all. In fact, I don't know whether this is a menu card, but this is just a few questions to you. And for you to ask and for you to think about of how you want to take charge of your own life. How many of us in this room believe taking and giving critical feedback, irrespective of hierarchy, age, color, or creed, is a gift? Wow, very good. I'm really happy to see this. You should join our company. You know, this is something which is a gift. I've seen it's difficult. Yeah, it's easier, and I always say that in many of our places that the young boys and girls come with aspirations, and we are the ones who kill it all. So continue this if you're doing it. The person who loves you most will give you critical feedback. The person who does not love you will not. How many of you believe in humility with determination? Raise your hands. Lesser. But think about it. To be humble is good, but perhaps with humility with determination. Determination to run the last mile. Determination to confront the brutal facts. Of accessibility. Of leadership through content. In India, this is something also amongst youth, this is something also lacking. Today, with the age of iPads, etc., we forget many times the aspect of books, or reading even books which have content and material and thought. And on many occasions, we run through things very quickly. So another food for thought is thought leadership, what I call woods for the trees and trees for the woods. That means going into the details and yet at the same time wanting to look at the overview. The other area is to be hungry for counseling and mentoring and emulation and being greedy to ask and look at those who have certain aspects in their characters, personalities, etc., which you would like to emulate. And since in India we do not have a system of mentoring, it is something that you would have to be greedy to look at and search out for people. To ask what you enjoy doing in life, what you want to do, and what you want to attain. So I would just like to end this with a few things. As a young boy, I remember having gone to a company called Pricewaterhouse at the age of 21 to start my articles. It was slave labor, believe me, 60 rupees a month, and you work for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I had huge slave labor, no income, but the only gift I learned at age 21 was I lost fear. So, colleagues, friends, if you lose the fear of fear in your life, and if you take charge of your life, and bring forth with the ability for the freedom to fly, I think you've arrived.